Alright. We got all of our nice little cameras set up today. That's so totally awesome. Can't wait for it. So in the meantime, while we're waiting, I'll just introduce myself to you guys. My name is Tunify, also known as Tuna the Toon Rabbit. I am a friend of the host panelists that are coming up here today. So that's really it. I am a little cartoon rabbit that's basically inspired by like anything and everything cartoon. And as you can see, I got a nice little made plush of her. She's very cute, very happy, very, bouncy around. So that is basically about me. And then my friends are coming up here as well, hopefully soon.
They're under the table.
Yeah, they've been here the whole time. They're like, oh, we were just having fun.
They're playing Animal Crossing under the table.
Yeah, right. Get some cards, play it out. But I figured I would do that little bit about myself. I've been a furry for X amount of years. I've had plushes for I don't even know, since I was like a kid. Source them out, sometimes trade them in, sometimes keep them and everything. But he did make me this one as like a little gift. So my little lovely fursona, done all over, really cute. Come on in, we still have some totally spaces. So that's just a little bit about myself. And then my friend up here also does, he'll probably talk about it in his panel, but he also does he gets plushies from little, stores and takes care of them, fluffs them up, takes care of them a little bit, and then sends them off to you guys to hopefully get a nice little home and everything. And that's basically it. That's what I know for so far on my end, and this is just on their end. And
hello, everybody. I'm so sorry. I ran late. Alright. It's going to take me a minute to get my laptop on, but otherwise, let's get this panel started, right, guys? You guys excited?
Yeah.
You're excited.
I'm excited. We have the dribble with us.
Awesome.
You have the bibble.
Can't go wrong with dribble.
Oh my god. I have so many plushies for the plush swap to meet and greet too. If you guys.
Oh, I'm going there. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
No, not at all. Were you the one stealing in the dealer's den?
Oh yeah, someone took from Bury Me. No, I'm not kidding. She tweeted about it. Well, they tweeted about it.
Oh, I did not know that. I was just making
Yeah.
a joke. Oh, that's serious.
I know you, donut.
Hi, Nerdy.
Hey.
I'm the one that's supposed to be late to the panel.
All right. Whatever.
Banner.
I'll be taking my stuff.
So, I know I haven't given the presentation yet, but does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to share? Go ahead.
I would like to know, at least a raise of hands would be nice. Who's going to the plushie meet and greet / swap? Because I really want to be able to wear this.
All right, cool. Oh, I've got more examples here. Stay. Cooperate.
Is anybody here from the Plushie Discord server? Yeah.
Cool, nice to meet you. I've got stickers too for everybody out there. Stickers!
I love stickers.
Good shiny
She is.
Bribe you to stay. No, I didn't say that.
All good.
Alright. It's opening! Yay, the presentation's opening. Alright, where's the little HDMI thingy? There. Pray that it fits everybody.
Praying so hard.
Oh, it fits. Okay.
Time for the Microsoft update.
Damn, I love the desktop.
Adorable. Oh no, safe from wallpaper.
Is that your normal background? Or did you just change it?
There's a normal background? The Snap-on guy got confused when he saw mine.
Alright. Well, while we're waiting for this to load, welcome everybody to the Importance of Plush. My name is Boone, and I run a plush restoration business known as Fluff Shop. Today we'll be having a brief conversation, and I emphasize the word conversation because while audience participation is encouraged, it's not necessary, but it would help. You guys have already been a big help. We will be having a conversation as to why plush and comfort items are so important in both real life, you know, and the fandom. First, we will enjoy a brief history of comfort items, followed by a few important points, and touch on how plush are related to the fandom. Sit back, relax as much as you can. You guys are already relaxing enough. And we will start with a brief history as soon as this thing gets its button gear. No,
Let's try that again. I agree.
Story of my life, let's try that again.
Gotta love matters.
Here comes the update.
It worked!
Okay. Does it work if I do that? Okay. All right. All right. I'm not going to sit down for most of this, I don't think, but all right. This presentation, this is the disclaimer. This presentation is written for everyone with the mindset that toys, comfort items are for everybody, not just kids or people of specific genders. With that in mind, please be respectful. I don't think we'll have an issue with that, but you know. It's not like
Eric.
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
It's all right, man. It happens.
All right, a brief history. Many early toys have been lost to time, unfortunately. Something to note about early toys is that scientists have trouble distinguishing play items from ritualistic items. As noted by Alex Bridget in the article, Why Ancient Toys Are Loose Artifacts, Bridget states, numerous archaeological cases of ritual items may have been toys. For example, dozens of clay figurines, crudely pinched into four-legged creatures, were recovered from Near Eastern sites roughly 8,000 years old. Early researchers wrote the possibility that these artifacts were children's toys could not possibly be ruled out. Early comfort items are often made of what was available to people at the time, meaning that hay and straw, sticks, paper, clay, and animal hide are all common materials. Early dolls are present in history as early as the Stone Ages, although they have been primarily become present in ancient Egyptian and Greco-Roman time periods. These include dolls that depict animals, humans, or culturally specific deities. These toys were often used in ritual, symbolic, and imaginative ways. One example of this is seen in ancient Egyptian culture, where stuffed toys were observed in the burial sites of children who passed away young. Please observe these fascinating examples of comfort items. We start at the top, at the 8,000-year-old example. It's a clay figurine that was found in Israel. It was likely used in rituals or as a storytelling object to illustrate the teller's tales. So they would say, oh yeah, you know, I went out hunting today and I found this herd of bison. You know, and they would hold up the artifact to illustrate that they saw a bison. You know, so everybody would know what they were talking about, because early language was very different to what we have today. Next, we see a rather elaborate swan plushie on the bottom left. It is believed to have originated from Siberia about 2,300 years ago, and is made of felt and contains reindeer fur stuffing. It's impressive to see the individually sewn feathers and attention to detail with the stitching. You can see that each wing feather is like individually cut. Something totally different is observed with these split twig animal figures from around 2,000 years ago, found in the American Southwest, upper right. Although it's much simpler in construction, it is interesting to see how they take on the form of animals and how they vary in size. Finally, a rag doll that originates from Egypt 2,000 years ago. It is made of linen and contains pieces of rags and papyrus. It even had a face made of colored wool and has one small hair bead, like Okay, that's it for early toys. Next we move on to medieval toys, 1200 to 1500. As we enter the medieval times, it is once again noted that many playthings were made out of what people had available to them and may be lost to time. Many toys from this time were made with education in mind and served a practical purpose. Some of the more notable toys include dolls and stick horses, both of which will reflect a person's financial and societal status. Those who were considered poor had much simpler and rustic toys, where those who were considered rich, such as the aristocracy, had much more complex and well-crafted toys. Dolls ranged from those made of wood and grass to those made with textiles and earthenware. They often represented real babies or knights and holy figures. Stick horses ranged from being simply shaped like a horse's head to being intricately carved to represent the animal, and some of them even had reins and manes. Here in the upper left, we see an illustration from an illuminated manuscript. Although the toys are simple, they would have allowed imaginative play. Other toys present in medieval time periods include small figural armies and castles, child-sized boats, and cooking utensils such as pots and pans or even cauldrons. Again, many of the toys are supposed to teach skills. Now we get into like what I think is like the really interesting stuff. 1880, Margaret Steiff and the Steiff Company. This is the first real instance of like what would consider a modern plush toy, and it came around in the end of the 1800s. A seamstress named Margaret Steiff created a small elephant pincushion out of felt, but she noticed it really got the attention of children. She decided to open a small plush manufacturing shop known as Steiff. The first stuffed animals Steiff manufactured included puppies, monkeys, donkeys, and horses. The plush were made of high-quality materials and sewn carefully by hand, which set them apart from other toys at the time. One is able to determine that a Steiff is genuine by the metal button in its ear. It notes the authenticity of the plush. Margaret Steiff's personal motto was, "For children, only the best is good enough," showing that she truly cared about her work and that work her company manufactured. The Steiff Company actually still exists today and recently celebrated 120 years of operation in 2022. So we have some pretty interesting pictures here. On the left is Margaret Steiff, born in 1847. Something interesting about Steiff is that she actually was paralyzed from polio. She was wheelchair bound. She came from a small town in Germany and worked with her family until her death at the age of 61 in 1909. On the right, we see some of the early Steiff products, including, going left to right, felt plushies that include a bunny, mouse, cat, and squirrel. On the right is a replica of the elephant pincushion that originally inspired Steiff to open her company. And the bottom picture shows a replica of one of Steiff's most famous products, Bear 55 PB. I'll keep this guy in mind because we move on to 1900, origins of the teddy bear. Arguably, one of the most famous and well-known plush ever created is the teddy bear. The bear's origin stems from several interesting places. The first known person to create a modern stuffed bear, considered to be a teddy bear, is actually Richard Steiff, the nephew of Margaret Steiff. Steiff, while working at his aunt's manufacturing company in 1902, developed a plush known as the Bear 55 PB. The plush stood at 55 centimeters tall and had jointed limbs that were movable. However, the teddy bear got its name from President Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt, while on a hunting trip in 1902, could not find any bears. Known as a big game hunter and nature lover, Roosevelt refused to end the black bear's life when it was presented to him by his hunting assistants. The bear was tied to a tree, and Roosevelt felt it was unsportsmanlike to take its life while it was cornered. Political cartoons later portrayed the bear as a cub, causing Roosevelt to be seen with a softer nature, as he did not shoot it. In 1903, a toy store owner, Morris Mitchtom, displayed a stuffed bear in the window of his New York shop with the label Teddy's Bear, playing off of Theodore Roosevelt's noble deed. This caused the plush's popularity to surge. Steiff actually adopted the label Teddy Bear in 1906. To the left are two pictures of Steiff's Bear 55 PB. You can see because they were jointed, they were like highly posable. It's pretty cool. And on the right is a political cartoon that shows President Roosevelt with his back turned to his hunting aid. There's a black bear cub tied up for the president to shoot. The president, with his hand extended in a dismissive gesture, indicates that he does not wish to shoot the bear while it is restrained in that manner. And that brings us to modern day. Modern day plush are diverse and vary widely in quality and purpose. It is easy to see the influences of their predecessors if one looks closely. Plush are still comfort items and can be highly artistic, expressive, and used for many different purposes. And one of the most important purposes a plush can serve is to provide comfort. So today's society is full of turmoil that can make you feel uneasy, and there are different ways to feel better. One of them is to find solace in a comfort item. As a child, one of the most important reasons that one is given a comfort item, such as a plushie, blanket, or a doll, is to teach self-soothing. Oh, sorry, we'll take questions.
It's not a question, it's actually something that I'd like to mention with comfort items.
Go ahead.
So, if any of you guys noticed this, there might be at least like someone, I'm guessing like 9 to let's say 15, that's a nice age range, who has a stuffed animal, dog, or any animal that they call their ESSA or ESA, emotional support animal or emotional support stuffed animal. And those are pretty much comfort items, except that they usually serve, I guess, a more important usage to the person. Like it can help them get through stressful situations. I have some myself, and they're really helpful. So they're pretty similar to comfort items. They're just kind of more by choice. And like, usually one person would be sick.
Actually, I have a bit of a similar case. As of recent, I had moved to Butler, which is about an hour out from here, and I moved in with my current roommates. They had gone on a trip to Ohio to meet some friends, but I needed to stay home because I needed to take care of my birds. He had just decided to come back with a Mew, like the Pokemon plush, and one of the more unique things about it to me is that it has like a subtle bubblegum flavor right next to the neck. I don't know what it is, but whenever I take a deep whiff, I just get this sort of instinctual feeling to hold it as tight as possible and just sit there for like about a minute maybe. It's soothing, and I'm not somebody who gets stressed out too terribly much. It's just something that's oddly comforting in my eyes.
That's awesome. Sorry, you guys. We'll save comments till the end. I actually have a section in here on comfort that everybody will get to speak if they like. Okay, but sorry. Self-soothing means to be able to make yourself feel better on your own without anybody else's help. Self-soothing can be difficult in busy and tumultuous environments, and because everyone has different things that affects their ability to self-soothe, comfort items are an easy way to make yourself feel better as they are often accessible and familiar. In 2017, Build-A-Bear commissioned a survey that found that 30% of adults felt that comfort was the first thing that came to mind when they thought of their childhood plushie. Additionally, the same study found that 40% of adults commented that they still slept with their plushie by their side. I ran a survey on Twitter asking why comfort items were important in people's lives. Here are some of the responses that I received. I have to go back because they are out of order, unfortunately. All right.
You're fine.
Could you talk in the microphone so we can hear you better?
Sure. Okay, here, let me sit down, maybe that'll help. You guys hear me now? Okay, cool. All right. So, plushies are a vital source of emotion and of emotional support and comfort for me. Probably because they're one of the few things that have remained constant in my life. They're also a safe form of company because they don't judge and don't make any demands of you, and are always there to listen. Here's another testimonial. Plushies are a vital source of, so many reasons, honestly. I think that the main reason for me was that they are a big part of my childhood. I was an only child, and I was often lonely. My room was filled with plush. I just loved them. They all brought me such comfort, and I came up with so many stories and games. And still have memories of old ones I received when I was young. I had formed bonds with all of them in some way. When one got hurt/worn, I would be devastated, as I was so protective of them all, and I like to think that they helped protect me in turn and help anxiety. Honestly, I am so grateful to Plush that I have kept a large handful of well-loved old childhood ones. I rescue, clean, and restore Plush because I like to see it as my unconditional gratitude and pay it forward to give Plush that I love as a kid, now in my 20s. And here's another one. As a kid, plushies were my constant friends. I take an emotional support orca plush with me everywhere. I see plush things I like, I get them mostly. I'm 52, and plushies will be my constant till my dying breath. All right. In addition to these responses, many more cited the soothing and comforting effects that their comfort items had on things like anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Others noted that their comfort items were their special interest or that they would use them to stim. One of the most striking things I noticed from these responses is that many people said that their comfort items were their friend. From one particularly moving testimonial, they bring a sense of peace to my mind as well as provide a comfort that I cannot find in human interaction. Wonder the Wolf from Twitter. I could go on and on about my own experiences with comfort items as well, but I'm sure many of us here relate to what these people had to say. Would anybody like to add a comment on their own experience? Sure.
Married for many years, the empty bed killed me. These have been the best thing that's helped me sleep ever since having the empty bed. It filled that other side of my bed.
That's awesome. Okay. Sure, behind her.
I struggle a bit with autophobia, so having like a 5-foot bear is like really comforting to me because I can just snuggle into him.
That's awesome. Sorry.
I first wanted to mention something about the history section. So her name, first name is Margaret, right?
Yes.
Margaret's name. She actually sewed a pattern that she found in a magazine. So those were being published for people to sew even before they were mass marketed.
Very
so
cool.
People were making them like for their family, or like, oh, my niece is having a daughter or something, or having a child, so let me make them something. So they were available earlier, just not to buy at a store.
Gotcha. All
And I
right.
just also want to say real quick, I have my beloved Teddy. I've held her in my arms every day since I was about 7, and it means the world to me. And it's so, I always felt like I was like the only adult who felt this way, and now I'm in a whole room of other people who feel this way, and it's so wholesome.
Can we all see her?
What's up?
Yeah.
I don't have her with me. I'm losing her. I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's fine.
Anybody else? All right. Sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to say next month my oldest plushie turns 32.
Hey, that's awesome. Everybody. All right. This side. Wait, put it on this.
Thank you. No, you go. Alright, so with me, mine, the company animal I have, didn't really become one until I was almost a teenager. I got it probably when I was 5 or 6 years old as an Easter present. It was a little stuffed duck. And after my father passed away, it became my comfort item because it was something he gave me. And it now goes everywhere with me. And like she said back there, I thought I was one of the only adults that did that. But knowing that it's actually more relevant than I thought, right, makes me feel better. And I'm like, I absolutely love it to death. And it, like you said, it is the one thing I go to that can get me to calm down.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right. Sorry, I was trying to get people on this side of the room. So are there any more on this side of the room? Okay.
I did mention the one from earlier, but there is one that's actually been with me for most of my life. My grandmother. She is still around, but I own this large Pikachu plush. To anybody who knows what I'm talking about, it's like the fat Pikachu. It is the really fat Pikachu. He's got a really slim tail. I've had him for the longest time, and just every time I've run him through the wash, you'd think that any of the stains that were on him would go away. I think it's caked in. I think it's stuck on him forever, but in the same vein, every time I look at that thing, it's the first thought is my grandmother, because she bought it for me when I was like 3, and it's been like, I don't think about it as much, but it's like one of those things that every time I idly glance over at it. She's the first thing that comes to my mind when I look at it. Not Pikachu plush, no, Grandma plush.
Aw, that's awesome. Wait, sorry, I think we had another friend over here. Yeah, sure, go ahead. I think you go here.
About 10 years ago, I was given a hand-me-down plush from my grandmother. And even if I don't miss her, and I know that it's been with so many people before me, I still love it and it still protects me, and it makes me feel even more safe.
It's awesome. All right. So, anybody else on the side there? No? Okay. Sure, this friend up here.
I deal with very intense anxiety, and sometimes there's like no one that can actually like help. So like having a I have a dinosaur plush, and just having that can sometimes like really help, because a lot of the time there's no one I can go to.
Gotcha. Sure. Our good friend back here.
Like around 10 years ago, back when I was like 13, 14, and that really, tender age, I had a really bad therapist for my obsessive compulsive disorder. And I had always been this way, where I would typically bring like a plush or like a little figure I could keep in my pocket back in elementary school all the time. And there was a certain Pokemon figure that I couldn't really bring a plush in because they were a very judgmental and bad therapist. So I would always bring in this little tiny microscopic Pokemon figure and always keep it with me during those meetings. And that was specifically one that, I've had a lot that I incorporate in my outfits even. Like I'll always have a keychain or someone on my phone case. I put it on my earring or something, so someone's always with me. But that's a specific one that was really through a traumatic time for me, and I still have them in like a little pouch, but that's just one example,
Awesome. All right. Our friend in the key master.
So when I was getting my temps in high school, I was basically a nervous wreck behind the wheel. It's like, this is a giant piece of metal moving at 40 miles an hour, and so it was really difficult for me to like actually pick up enough speed to actually get to where I needed to go. And eventually I decided to start hanging this little guy from the rearview mirror. And so I would put him on the nose every time I got in.
Awesome. Right. Our other friend back here. Our friend. Sorry. Whoever wants to go first today.
Growing up as a young child, I always struggled expressing myself, especially my feelings. So I always bottled them up. But now, ever since I started collecting over 100 stuffed animals, I always adore them. I know every last one of their names. I know what day I bought them, what time. And now I always carry around my little weighted stuffed animal bee. And she's like a perfect stuffed animal for me to hold on to, especially when I need a hug and I have no one to talk to.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right. Our friend.
I've had this guy Sputnik for about a year now. Yeah, named after the Russian satellite, the first object in space. And he came around at a time where I was getting severely bullied at school. It was not great. And he kind of saved me in a way. He made me want to go to school because I knew he'd be by my side and I would be safe with him. And I wasn't judged for it. People loved him. And I love him too. He's amazing. He's my best friend. What can I say?
Thank you. I think a lot of us feel that way too. That our plush, really saved us. But thank you. That's an excellent point. Anybody else? Sure. Okay.
So this is more recent, but I just had the realization that it's my friends at college are not good, and I miss my old friends from home, and I couldn't really do anything about it because they were all so far away. So I have my emotional support plushie who just keeps me company when I'm alone in my dorm and I'm upset because I can't do anything because I'm feeling depressed.
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Sure, Pikachu hat.
I have an odd story. My sister was married to a serviceman, but he divorced her, so she couldn't get into the Indian Town Gap Cemetery.
but my father was a serviceman, he was a Navy man. So I took a stuffed animal, hollowed it out, put her ashes in the stuffed animal, and then put it in the coffin with my dad.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So she got in without having to get in.
Wow.
I like that. That's awesome.
Alrighty. Anybody else? Oh, sure.
This is mine. Okay. So this is Prudence. This is my kind of, I guess, emotional support stuffed animal, sort of. I like to use the term partner plushie, like partner Pokemon, kind of, like Ash and Pikachu. But plushies have always been a big part of my life. And ever since I was a kid, I took a plushie to school. I call it bringing my friend to school, and I did that longer than you'd expect a child to, but hey, we're all here for that. And I recently started designing my own plushies that I'm going to sell soon, and that's how plushies like have affected my life so much. It's just that I'm trying to go into like, you know, I'm trying to like make them the business part of my life as well as the comfort part of my life and stuff. So that's just one way the plushies have been a big part of my life.
Alrighty. Thank you for sharing, everybody. Anybody else before we? Alrighty. Can we have a round of applause for everybody who shared? Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate the audience participation.
Thank you for putting this on.
No problem. All right, let's see if we can speed run the rest of this panel, huh? So we can get it done. And I just want to mention that everything in the slides and the notes will be available afterwards. I'll put them on my Twitter. And I don't know if I have it up here, but it's Refluff Shop.
It's on the banner.
It's on the banner. Okay. Awesome. So anyway, another way that one of the coolest ways that I think that comfort items. Okay, so one of the coolest things about comfort items is that there's a lot of variation in how they're created and how people use them to express themselves. I believe that comfort items allow people to be creative both physically and mentally. They allow for creativity and expression. One example of how comfort items allow people to express themselves physically is the act of creating and crafting plushies, dolls, or other items, whether for personal use or for sale. I know quite a few artists who make a living or supplemental income by creating one-of-a-kind plushies of people's characters, personas, or fan characters. Many artists even create plushies of their own original characters or create one-offs that are so unique that only one exists in the whole world. These examples are from an artist known as the Chad Factory. She creates plushies based off of her own ideas, even creating her own patterns. She uses different fabrics and textures to create highly imaginative plush sculptures. Some of her work is even scented or weighted, offering different sensory options for people to appreciate. A few pieces that I own, such as this doll by Tony's Tighties on Instagram, also allow for the celebration and creativity and expression of diversity. Dolls that have different skin tones, heights, weights, as well as genders. And this doll actually has top surgery scars that I bought to celebrate my own top surgery.
Yay!
Other plushies, such as these plushies of my personas Hawk, this guy who fell over, and Nurk, this guy, represent a physical manifestation of my own personas. I can be creative and dress them up or carry them around and take pictures of them. It's a way to enjoy them as characters even without having them as a fursuit or a two-dimensional piece of art like a badge. From the survey I ran on Twitter, Wife and I will leave them in interesting situations for each other to find and smile about as we work different schedules. Also, using them encourages me to take more photos of places as I otherwise won't bother to take pictures. No, not yet, okay. Comfort items also allow you to express yourself mentally. From a young age, people use their plushies in play. Baby dolls offer people the opportunity to be parents, and in the same vein, stuffed animals allow people to own animals they've never had in real life. I've also heard of people using plushies to communicate when they're nonverbal or to express emotion when they find it difficult. All right. Plushies are also actually good for your health. And I know this may seem like such a little bit of a stretch, but hold on. An argument may be made that comfort items are good for one's health. It may seem strange to think this, but there are actually many ways that people benefit from having comfort items. Comfort items help reduce stress. Stress can cause many different adverse health effects, including heart attacks, asthma, high blood pressure, and lowered immune function. Many people find that access to their comfort items make them calmer, thereby lowering stress. In a 2023 article by Wirecutter, it is noted, I don't know if I have it on the next slide, okay. Max Jennikov, author of the 2018 New York Times Magazine, Ode to His Plush Friends, and a clinical graduate student in psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, pointed out in an interview that stuffed animals can be transitional objects, a psychological term often used in regard to children for an item that provides comfort during times of anxiety or change. These transitional objects allow people to cope with stress and mitigate potentially harmful health effects. In addition, comfort items also help people cope with their physical and mental health. One example of comfort items helping people with their physical health is seen in products such as Plush that have the ability to be heated or have heat packs inserted in them. For example, this is a Warmies Dragon. Some find that the heat is soothing to their injuries or sometimes after surgery. They may also contain lavender, which is, when warm, aids in falling asleep. Many of these comfort items may also be chilled in the freezer and used as ice packs. Another comfort item that helps people cope with their physical health is weighted stuffed animals and dolls. For people with conditions such as dementia, these items can be helpful as they simulate the weight of a real baby or animal. They can help reduce stress and empower them with a feeling that they are caring for someone at a time they may feel less able to. Some comfort items also aid in easing the struggles of people who face when they're dealing with mental health. There is a product known as the My Special Affleck Duck that is sometimes given to children dealing with cancer and other stressful medical situations. It is a small plush duck with robotic components. It comes with a medical kit, feeling cards, and a spaceship that plays soothing sounds. This duck is an example of a comfort item designed to help children cope with their difficult mental situations. The medical kit allows children to act out and play what may be done to them during a medical procedure, such as getting a shot. And the feeling cards connect with a sensor on the duck's chest to allow nonverbal communication as to the child's feelings. The spaceship that plays soothing sounds allows children to practice distraction therapy, a useful technique that may be used as a coping mechanism. And replica plush, such as those made to look like pets that have passed away, also allow for people to find closure and comfort. By having a plush that looks like a pet that has moved on, people are able to still have a piece of them. And these are, I believe, they're not Petsies, they are cuddle clones, yes. Thank you. All right, and so, our last point, the connection to the fandom. Many of these connections that comfort items share with the fandom are similar to those we have already covered. Briefly, two ways that comfort items share a connection to the fandom through plushies or personas of anthropomorphic characters, as well as that the creation of such allows the same level of self-expression for artists and plush enthusiasts as a way to, as say, the creation of a fursuit would. Plushies or dolls of a persona offer a way to have a physical representation of your character other than a fursuit or a piece of two-dimensional art. In a way, plush are more accessible than a fursuit as they often are less expensive and don't require the physical capabilities that having such a heavy costume would. Additionally, the creation of a plush versus a fursuit is sometimes less time-consuming and easier to create due to the availability of pre-made patterns, such as these, made by Teacup Line. These are available on Etsy. Please support them.
And tuna. Tuna's also made out of a
Yes, and tuna is made out of a Teacup Line pattern, I believe. Or no, that's Choli Knight. Choli Knight makes this pattern. Anyway, fursuits shared many of the same materials as plushies, and many find that the act of wearing the fursuit has a calming and soothing effect, such as a comfort item. There are also fursuits that mimic plush known as plush suits. These often have bodysuits that are one piece and with hands and feet connected. They achieve the shape of a plush by being stuffed with polyfill or stuffing, similar to a plushie. All right, so that's the end of our slideshow. So the conclusion is, sorry, can we do the conclusion? Plush and comfort items serve a very important part in society, both today and yesterday. From prehistory all the way to modern times, comfort items have been present for people of all ages to appreciate and enjoy in different ways. They provide comfort, allow for creativity and self-expression, and are even good for your health. Comfort items even have a place in the fandom through plushies and fursuits alike. My name is Boone, and thank you for listening to this conversation about the importance of plush. Thank you. And you guys should give yourself a round of applause as well for bearing with me for being late and speed running the panel.
Boone, thank you for putting on this panel.
Of course. All right. So we have about, we don't have that much time. It's like 3:52. This panel's done at 4. Does anybody have anything that they want to say, or should we rather like mingle and talk?
Would anyone like to share?
Any stickers? Oh, and I have stickers. So here's your verb stickers. And then you know the table. Take what you guys like. This is them with my message.
Stickers on the table.
Come here. All right, come on, Mikey. You're good. Come on.
Yes, no problem. I got you.
Because your AC so far.
So far, yesterday was just like
It was probably the weather too, and the air quality.
well, I had a headache all that morning. Yes, like the air quality was that.